Hi, Amanda. How are you doing?
You already know, I'm just chilling. How are
I
you?
knew it was. Well, as you can see, I got a different backdrop here. I
hmm
am on campus for the first time. I'm covering the office. We started having people come in and just kind of be here and ready. So today was my day. I was kind of excited to come in the office, and then I realized, can you see up here? Do you see what time it is?
2:35.
It's going to be 2:35 for a while because I got in and my at least my plants are doing okay. They're alive, doing all right. But the clock stopped and I went to go replace the battery and I have no batteries. So I'm gonna have to
Nice.
I wear a watch, it's okay. But every time I look up, I'm used to looking up at the clock. So as we're doing this podcast, you're gonna watch, it's gonna feel like time stands still because the clock's not gonna move. So
It's
it'll be
okay.
That's awesome. Yeah. So no, I'm back and we're kind of getting ready and getting. I get to give a tour later this afternoon. We have a couple families. We're being very, very careful, following all the state guidelines. Um, and we're allowed one family at a time to come in and we give them a kind of a personalized tour. Right now, we're just taking fall of 20 seniors who are still making that last minute decision, right? But hopefully, sometime here in the near future, we'll be able to start working with fall of 21 students too. So today, actually, we have no guest, which is kind of fun. You and I mean, sometimes we do better with no guests. Let's be real. We could be ourselves. I can call you all sorts of Carol Baskin names. Um, but today, because we're kind of switching over, we're getting a lot of students from fall of 21. So there are current high school juniors who are becoming high school seniors, right? They're in between, they're in that no man's land. They can all start applying here later this week. So after July 1st is when the applications start coming out. Yeah, I see the look on your face.
Juniors can apply to college that
Well,
early?
Well, they're not. Think about it though. They're not juniors anymore. They've completed their junior year,
Oh, yeah,
so
okay.
now they're going to be high school seniors, right?
Sorry, I've been
And
away from class for too long. Can't do
I know
math.
it's all right. It's good. Now, so the good thing is, we always tell students you want to do things at the beginning rather than the end. So we have a lot of our juniors who have been emailing, texting, calling, talking to us, and we're getting ready to start accepting applications here later this week. So I
That's
figured
cool.
to yeah, I figured today we need to switch it up. We need to start talking about some more kind of exploratory SVSU things. And the number one question we get in admissions constantly has everything to do with people's programs. Now, for if we have new listeners, I want you to kind of give us your college history because I love your college history. You came to SVSU. You didn't really well, I'll let you tell it, but I don't think you had an idea of exactly what you wanted to do and you fell into something. So why don't you tell
Yeah,
us?
so like I was originally a business major because I wanted to go into corporate law after my bachelor's, and I figured business I don't think would be for me because I'm not the best at math. So I figured I really like writing. I wanted to see if SVSU had a journalism program, but unfortunately they don't yet. So I went with professional technical writing, which is just as good, if not maybe a little better, because you can do so much more with it. And I minored in political science because I am very strongly minded about politics and want to get into them at some point in my life. But yeah, that's my story of SBSU. They gave me you can. I told them I want to do journalism. They were like, okay, well we have communication or PTW, and they were like communication. You have to talk more with people. PTW is just the writing part. So I was like, I'll do that one.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. And you, I've told you this again, but in case we have any new listeners, had PTW been around when I was an undergrad, it's probably something I would have gotten involved in. Professional technical writing, you're getting so many usable skills across
Mhm.
so many different spectrums to go to law school like you're planning, but even students in there who aren't planning to go to school can go into things like editing, web editing. Honestly, I'm going to say this, okay, and this is Nick's opinion, okay, nobody else's. And this, when we talk about majors, it's really important I say this. These are only my opinions, right? You can find other opinions out there. PTW is so much, I think, is so much better than journalism, because journalism trains you to do one thing in your writing.
Mm-hmm.
PTW is training you to do so many other
So
things.
many things. Yeah, it's very
Podcasting.
versatile. And it's
I mean,
honestly, it's becoming a larger program. I believe,
mhm.
I know some professors in my department, they were talking about they really want to make a master's program here at SVSU. And I think that would be so cool because I know so many people in the PTW department, like that's what they want to do. They go to like Eastern or Michigan Tech
Yep.
to get that master's degree. So I think that'd be really cool to have a master's program
Yeah.
here.
Well, today we're not talking just about PTW, okay? Yeah, I know we always give them their shout out, right? But I think it's important to have a really good conversation. I have been in admissions for 16 years. Actually, I just passed my 17th year anniversary, so I know I have to start saying 17 years last week. I know, don't make fun of me. It's okay. Um,
Oh, I'm just kidding.
yes, yes, I am. That's why I sit next to a plant. Um, No. So I've had a lot of experience over that time just working with students, looking at trends and talking about majors. So I thought today let's take some of your insight and I'm going to let you ask me some questions and let's dive deep into major. So I think we should get started talking about some of the majors and what's going on. Where do you want to start? What kind of question do you want to ask first when we get going with this?
So, I think what a lot of people are wondering is how do you ask someone about a specific major? Like, do you have to talk to someone from that major or like someone running that major or?
Good question. So this is what happens. You ready? Everybody everybody comes up to you at a comes up to me at a college fair or sends an email or phone call or text message, and the first question everybody asks is the absolute worst question you can ask. Everybody asks, how good is your whatever program? Criminal justice, psychology, doesn't matter, engineering, teaching, nursing, they don't care. They all ask, how good is it? Now, I am very proud. I haven't mentioned this earlier because I was trying to, keep it, but here in the office, I'll show you sometime. I am the 10-time defending tailgate champion at SVSU. Right, big deal. Okay. So I obviously love this place, right? If you come and ask me how good is anything, what do you think I'm going to say?
It's the best.
Oh, it's better. I always say it's amazing how many amazing programs all these amazing universities amazingly have. Amazing. That
It's
word
amazing.
amazing, best, those should be red flags. Okay. Instead of coming and asking someone like me, who is a paid spokesperson, right? I love SVSU. I'm a two-time grad. You see my degrees up here behind me, right? I'm a two-time grad of SVSU. I love this place. I'm always going to tell you it's the best. It's amazing. What you have to do is you have to get details out of people like me, right? So if you're going to compare SVSU to any other school, the best way to get the details is instead of asking me how good is your CJ program, come and ask me, okay, what makes your CJ program, criminal justice program, different than everybody else? Am I still going to say good things?
Of course, duh.
10-time defending tailgate champion. Don't forget it, okay? So obviously I'm going to make it sound really, really good, right? But what you're forcing me to do by asking the question about the difference as opposed to how good is it, is you're forcing me to give details like in our majors and actually even in our general education courses, our average class size is 21, right? That's a big difference than most of your public universities.
Mm-hmm.
All of our classes are taught by faculty members. There's no grad assistants or teaching assistants. Depending on the major, I'm going to have a million stats, right? CJ, I'm going to talk about all the cool different concentrations they have, like criminology, criminal law. My favorite, corporate security. I always say I have a roommate who graduated in corporate security, and I used to tease him. I called him Paul Blart. Don't ever do that, right? Pat actually has an amazing job. He works for a corporate security firm out of Detroit, and he does security traffic details. There's so many different amazing Amazing. You catch that red flag, right? There's so many different concentrations that you can do. Now, did I still make CJ sound really good? Of
Yeah, it
course.
still sounded really good. Yeah.
But now you got details, and that's what's most important. So if students are trying to compare, you want to get the details, learn about their accreditation, learn about what makes their program different. What are some of the things that we do differently at SBSU that other schools might not? Because if you can find those details, right, then you're starting to figure out, okay, this one sounds a little better. This one sounds like more my style. This one, ew, no, I don't want to do that in my major, right? The second thing I would say, so how do you ask about it? Number one, you ask what makes the difference. Number two, you need a reference person. I cannot. I always talk about it at SVSU. Like, I'm the generalist, right? I can tell you all these fun facts about the nursing department or the teaching. That's where my heart is because I'm a College of Ed grad, right? I can tell you all these fun facts and cool things that they're doing, but then I want to give you to an expert. I want to give you to somebody in your major. Maybe it's the faculty chair of that department who's going to take the time to sit down. Maybe it's someone like, well, you remember we interviewed Heidi Lang earlier this
Mm.
semester. Heidi's the perfect person. If they're a pre-med student and they're really interested in it, I get them set up with Heidi. I know right now Heidi is actually running virtual meetings. I think every other week or once every couple of weeks, where students who are interested in pre med can just talk to her and they can get on a Teams meeting like you and I have, and sit down and find out more about that area. But you got to find the differences. Then number two, you got to have that contact. You got to have that reference person. Those are the most important things. You can't just lean on your admissions rep at whatever school it is because
Hmm.
I've got to know information about over 100 different programs, right? That's a
Yeah.
lot. So I'm going to know little bits and pieces, but I want to get you to the expert as well. So I think that's the best way, like how to ask about your major. You got to start at that point, and then it kind of starts to become clear. Everybody's going to sound good. They're all going to be passionate about what they do, right?
Oh
if
yeah.
not if not, run for the hills. Don't go to that school. Okay, if they're like, yeah, that's okay, yeah, if the people who are teaching it and the people who are working there aren't passionate about it, then that tells you something. So
Yeah. And what are like some of the common majors at SBSU? I know there's like nursing,
yeah,
education, but I know mine is quite small. I didn't even know it existed here until I was at
yeah,
orientation. So if you could tell us
yeah.
a little more about the majors.
So the common majors, again, I would never. Sometimes people ask like common or what's the what is SVSU known for? I'm always careful about that because quite frankly, it depends on who you are, right?
Yeah, true.
I would say the biggest majors, so the one where we have the most students currently, are things like you mentioned nursing. We actually have the largest BSN program in the state right now, which is pretty cool. Um, Education is still making a really big comeback because there's a big need for teachers right now. So we are getting more and more education students. The College of Business is growing because a
We just
lot of
got that new
students.
building.
Exactly. We just got a brand new building, the Carmona College of Business. So we're getting more students in that area. I think other common ones, things that people know of and see. I mentioned in criminal justice earlier. In the arts and behavioral sciences, criminal justice and psychology seem to be really popular with students coming in because I think what we see is a lot of students think of their career first and not necessarily of their major, right?
Yeah.
So they're thinking, I want to be a FBI agent, right? Or I want to go into going into counseling or working with. So they go in and they start finding those majors first. And then students like you say, okay, you're a great example. Sorry, I'm gonna put you on the spot. You thought of a lawyer first, right? And then you started to find this major. So I think that's happening for students. So we get a lot of students in the career portions first, and then they kind of find their way into some of the other areas. I mean, think about it. We've got five colleges here. The difference between a university and a college. A university holds different colleges. A college is an
Mhm.
area of study. So We've got business. We've got which is the new Carmona College of Business. We've got the College of Education, Arts, Behavioral Sciences, Science, Engineering, Technology, and then the health field, right? So we're going to have a major for everybody in there. The only time that I get in trouble and I meet with a student and I'm like, well, sorry, this isn't the right place for you. One or two things happen. Either they want something so very finite and specific that not very many people have it, something like interior design, right? Okay, sorry, I can't help. Or it might be something that doesn't require a bachelor's degree, but still a great career opportunity. Maybe they want to go into something like welding or the trades. I can help with the engineering portion of those areas, right? But then I'm going to work with that student and say, hey, if you really want to go into this, here are some other institutions that do this much better. And that's part of my job as an admissions professional. We take it very seriously. My job is not to just get students to sign up and come to SVSU. My job is to have conversations with people like you, and you've had these conversations yourself, right? And say, okay, let's start figuring this out. Let's start looking at what your interests are, and then if we are a good fit, then boom, let me help you all the way. So does that kind of make sense? We talk about common majors.
Yeah, and that kind of leads into this next question that you kind of touched on, but what do undecided students do? Like, what should they do when even starting the college process?
Let me tell you this before I answer that. You ready? Undecided students who come to me and tell me that they're undecided are my absolute favorite students to work with. And no joke. And they always think that like, oh, this is the worst thing. I don't want to admit this to somebody. No, it's okay. That's why I'm here. That's why I do what I do, is to help people figure out. And if you're an undecided student out there, here is a big point. You ready? Your friends who tell you that they know what they want to do, they're undecided too. Like they're figuring it out too. They might have a better sense, right? They might know, I really love helping people, and nursing is a good way to do that. And I know, there are a lot of good nursing jobs out there, so let me try this, right?
I can relate to that too, because like I'm going into PTW just to fall back on in case I don't like law school. So.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is we can sit down and take a look. Your interests are writing, right? Uh, Learning. I know because I know you. Your interests are writing, but also learning new things and trying out new things, right?
Yeah.
PTW is a great way to do that because it's kind of on the cutting edge of writing, right? You're figuring out how to do things like podcasts. You're helping me out with this thing. Thank you, by the way, right? You're working with other clients and websites, and like that's the cutting edge part of writing. It's not the traditional sense, you know. So that fits. I might sit down with an undecided student and say, okay, what do you don't like? One of my favorites, and I will never use a student's name because I got to keep everything confidential when I advise students. But one of my favorite students, this is probably it's been about 10 years now since this happened, but I still remember her to this day. She came in, we sat down, we talked about it. She really loved SVSU and she wanted to go here, but she couldn't convince mom and dad that she should go here because she was still undecided about her major. And I said, that's fine. Let's sit down and let's talk about you. What do you like? What you don't like? Sometimes that's more important. And then I can talk with mom and dad and we can figure out, is this the right fit or should you try something else? Well, we sat down, and within 5 minutes, I knew right away, like, she was a perfect fit for SVSU. She was a really good student. She was very inquisitive. Here were her things that she didn't like. Are you ready? This sounds like a Carol Baskin to me, but it takes one to know one, so I'll ask you, okay? She wanted to help people, but she didn't want to touch or talk to them. She
Sounds like
was
me.
she was very, very good in the sciences, loved the different sciences. So she had always thought the health professions, but she didn't want to actually be in contact with people. And she's looking at me like, this doesn't make any sense. What am I going to do? Everything in nursing is, touching people, all the gross stuff, everything in healthcare. And I kind of chuckled and I felt bad at the moment. Like, oh, like I wasn't trying to make light of the situation because she was really, really kind of distraught. And I said, no, it's perfect. I'm going to use her name here. Like, let's talk about this. And we talked about medical laboratory science. Medical laboratory science are people who sit down. You think about it. You go to a hospital and you get your blood drawn, right? And they say, we're going to run it off to the lab and get some tests. We don't know what happens. People like you and I sit there and think, magic fairies are in the background.
Yeah.
No, there's people there who have really good jobs. It's high demand right now, who have to run those tests and she's helping people. She's in the back. She's not working with a lot of people. She loves it. I saw her about 3 years ago. She was coming back through. She had a younger, I don't think it was a sibling, might have been a cousin. She was paying. She was talking about all her SVSU experience, and she's doing great. She's a lab tech for a major hospital chain. She's from Northern Michigan, so she absolutely loves it.
That's
It's that
cool.
being undecided only means you haven't made the decision yet. It doesn't mean you're
Yeah.
not going to get there. I do tell my undecided students, I'm like, listen, we got to be realistic. I want you to graduate on time.
I
Okay.
will, I promise.
All right. All right. I want you to graduate on time. But with that, that means thinking that, okay, if I don't know when I get started, it's okay, but I'm going to have to make that decision in that first at least year and a half, right? By my sophomore year, I'm going to want to have a really good sense of what it is I want to do. And I can help you pick and choose the classes while you're here. Your advisors are wonderful people. We just met with Rachel this last week. Rachel's staff is trained, just like what's happened with you, to sit down and say, okay, here's your interest, here's what you don't like. Let's try these classes to see, right? They're going to count for our general education. We're not going to lose credit here, but let's see and kind of spark your interest. And hopefully it ends up like a student like you, where now we've sparked the interest, we figured out which classes fit the best, and now we kind of know, is this the thing that we want to do? So I really think being an undecided student, some of the benefits, um, well, I have a personally held belief that undecided students are usually served best at the university level because we really take the time to sit down and try to figure out exactly it is what you want to accomplish and find the major that's going to fit that career. Sometimes at other schools, they're just trying to fit you into what it is they offer, right?
Hmm.
And I don't
They
want
just
that.
want to
We,
put
we
butts
wouldn't do
in
that.
seats.
You said it, not me. All right.
Yeah.
Helpful? Make you think? Undecided students?
Yeah. It makes me kind of want to be a one of those lab technicians now. But it's okay. I'll finish out PTW, I promise.
You're
Um,
doing what you're supposed to. I can tell. Don't worry.
and another question I had is, do you have to apply to your major, or do you just get
Mm,
kind of just thrown into it? Because I don't
good
think
question.
I can't even remember if I had to apply to mine.
Really good question. It totally depends on the major. That's why it's important to sit down with an admissions rep as you're kind of applying to college. So my juniors going to be seniors, my class of 21. We've got virtual appointments happening all the time right now. Take advantage. We also have these virtual valley visits that are going on. Take advantage because some majors you do. Nursing is a great example. Nursing, you've got to apply to get in the nursing program. Now, that may happen in your freshman year, depending on your GPA and some test scores, right? Or it may happen while you're here as a student. Same with the College of Business and the College of Ed. They have an application process once you get some of these general education classes done. We have some new programs that are now having a an application period. Our engineering college, the engineering majors are instituting an admissions process right now to kind of help students figure out, is that what they really want to go into, right? So you got
Yeah.
to talk. Others you don't. PTW, you start signing up for the classes, you can go in and declare yourself as a PTW or history, or I was a history major, secondary ed. You can just declare yourself as that major, but you got to talk to us to figure out what that process is like because each one of those is very, very, very different.
Yeah. Okay. And who or what helps the most in deciding a major for someone? Isn't
Mm,
it, would it be like those, the orientation leaders or, wait, no, it's not the orientation leaders. They sit
I know
there
what
in
you're
the
saying.
computer lab when you register for classes. That's where
Advisors.
they help me the most. Yeah.
Yeah.
Advisors. Yeah.
Advisors. Yeah. I, Here's the thing. Who or what helps most in deciding major is totally dependent on the student. I'm a big believer and I talk about this a lot, especially with parents. I'm a big believer with beginning with the end in mind, right? So let's figure out what when you get old like me, don't laugh. When you get old like me, what is it that you want to be doing with your life? Not necessarily a career. I don't want to know, is it, I want to be the vice president of some Fortune 500 company. That's great. That's a good goal. And if you're that specific, sure. But what is it you want to be doing day to day? Me personally, I love working with students. I'd love to work with more students. I'd love to work more with our current students. That's kind of a goal of mine, right? So this is where I want to be. I love being there and being helpful in uh, without getting too sappy, but changing people. And I found college is a very transformative time in my life, and I love being a part of that for other people so that they can kind of transform and be what they want to be. So we also have to be realistic too. We take a lot of looks at there's top 100, top 50 career services that are out there. We talked to Bill Seck, a couple episodes ago. We work closely with Bill's office to figure out, okay, what's the needs in the state of Michigan? Do we need more people like you, right, going out and doing editing and these kind of, well, if that's the case, let's start showcasing that a little bit more. Not making people
Right.
do that, but at least showing them where the opportunities are, you know? A good example of that is if you were to ask me a decade ago, should you go into teaching? Um, it was my duty to say, if you want to be a teacher, let's do it. Absolutely. But let's be realistic. You're going to probably be teaching in North Carolina, Texas, Alaska, somewhere else, because Michigan just had too many teachers.
Yeah.
Today, today, we can't fill the number of teaching positions that are just coming to our college alone, just from our regional area. We're in dire need of teachers, right? So now there's more incentives and things for students to get involved in education. So we take a look at these things. We got to begin with the end in mind, and then we try to match the major with what that is. It's a little different thinking because I think a lot of people think of going to college as career training, and you are getting career training, but it's not just that. It's a transformative process of critical thinking. This is why you have the things like general education. Dr. Pashik was really good a couple episodes ago talking about some of his psychology classes and what you're thinking about. Getting your bachelor's degree is helping you earn gain the critical thinking knowledge that you're going to need to be successful in whatever career you're going to be, and there's some career training built into it. So that's my long long answer to who helps, right, and what is the thing. But really it's really important for students to kind of take some of that self inventory and see, because
Yeah.
it's a very personal process. I don't trust tests, and I don't trust people ever coming and telling me what to do. Because of that, I would never do that to a student, right? So
Mhm. And then this is a question for the people because I think I kind of know the answer to it. But
uh-huh.
is someone's major their career? Like, is that major their career? Because I
Mhm.
know for technical writing, that's not the case. I know there's like I could be an editor, I could be a web designer, I could be usability
Mhm.
studies, like so many things. Like so, but I know for some others it's different. So, what
it
is your take on it?
it totally good question. It totally depends on the major, right? If you're going and getting a teaching certificate and your
You're gonna be a
intention is being a
teacher.
teacher, right? Then that's your intention, and therefore your major is your career. But there's other people, and you're a great example, right? You have a major that is building all of these other critical thinking skills that are going to allow you to do a whole host of things. We don't know. Think about it this way, and I don't know the exact percentage, but I can tell you a good percentage of the careers that are going to be available to you by the time you're my age don't exist already, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I started in admissions, there weren't things like CRMs and communications and podcasts and those things, right? So I couldn't have a major in podcasting or or some of the different things that are coming up. Now we have majors that we built because education is transformative, because faculty are always looking for new and innovative ideas, right? Even our majors evolve, and they evolve with the marketplace. So is my major my career? Well, in some cases it could be. Social work. We have the largest BSW program in the state of Michigan. That's that Bachelor's of Social Work degree. Those people are going to go off and be social workers, right?
Yep, my
They're
roommate
also
just graduated from that, and she's at U of M now for her
yes,
master's program.
perfect example, right? So she's going in, and for her, her major was her career. But for many of our students, your major might not necessarily be. I was a history major at one point, right? We have people that go off and get their doctorates in history and become historians. But we also have a lot of history majors that come up and they start working in business because these are really good analytical people that can read documentation and give
Mm-hmm.
you a really good interpretation, right? So there are critical thinking skills a part of all of these majors for students that are going to develop. Who knows? You may, when you get old like me, right? You're going to move on from podcasting, and let's try to forecast the future. You're going to be doing live hologram podcasting, answering questions for random people about the law, right? Because that's what you're
That,
passionate
or
about.
maybe I will be giving State of the Union addresses.
There you go. You're going to be getting, there's no major in that, right?
Yeah.
But you're getting the skills you need in order to get there. And that's what college is about. That's what earning your bachelor's degree is all about. So I always, it's tough, and we're talking hypotheticals and we're talking about people's lives. I always remind everybody that your major, your bachelor's degree is a transformative experience. You are going to be totally different when you finish. And we want you to finish, right? Because at the end, having that degree is telling other people that yes, this person is fully developed critical thinking skills. They can tackle the world's problems. They can tackle what's going to come next to them in their career or in life. So
Mm-hmm.
helpful.
Very, yes. I think I learned a lot.
See, and you spent all this time talking to me, and you thought I was just some weird guy sitting in his basement, right?
Yes. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's good. I think this was helpful, and I think a lot of students will find this really, really helpful because, we have these conversations. My last big piece of advice, I have to remind students that are out there listening to this or watching this, I need you to sign up and visit with people like me. I'm not the only one. I'm the best. Don't worry.
I would
Right?
recommend it as well because I wish I would have done that.
Yeah.
Even though I've kind of just fell into like the perfect situation for myself,
Mhm.
I still wish I would have done that just to like be super sure.
Exactly. Exactly. So I mean, sign up, meet with us, talk to us, talk to other schools. I always want students to compare us to at least two other schools because then I know when they decide to come to SBSU, they know that it's the right fit for them, right? All right, so it's time for you're not getting away with this because we don't have a guest. You bear the brunt. You thought I was going to forget and not ask the irreverent question
I
of the day,
was
didn't you?
thinking you were gonna forget, yeah.
I totally didn't bring it up even in our
Oh,
pre-meeting just because I wanted to catch you by surprise with this one. And you kind of already answered it, but I can't deviate from a plan sometimes. So I got to ask Nick's irreverent question of the day. Um, being a PTW major, going into law school, what is, I want to know, my irreverent question of the day for you is when you get old like me, okay? I always look back at it and like when I was in college, I thought I was going to play in the NFL, right? And I was going to, like that was the dream. I was good in football and all those things. And, things happen, pounds happen, right? So, what is it when you started college? Give me the fantasy dream career. And if you say American Idol, I'm gonna laugh you right off of this. But I want to know what was the fantasy dream career that you thought, and now that you're getting realistic and you're looking at your life and you want to become really it, that's kind of fallen
okay.
off the wayside.
I'm I'm embarrassed to say it, but I'm not embarrassed to say it because I still feel this way. I really want to run for president in 2040.
There you go.
That's my goal.
See you, but that's not unrealistic. I was waiting for like I wanted to be a YouTube sensation and
Oh, that too, but like I still film YouTube videos and just never forget about them. They're on my phone still.
nice. All right. Well, okay, you dodged that question very well. So
But I
that makes you a
also
great
I
politician.
also thought about being a mortician or a dermatologist too. Those are also like two dream jobs that I wanted to do. I still maybe I'll do them. I'll be a lawyer and a mortician on the side. Who knows?
That combination scares me. And I was going to tell you that I would vote for you in 2040, but now when you're talking about being a mortician and a lawyer, I'm a little concerned of what you're going to do with public policy. So we'll have to wait and see what your platform is going to be. But I'll be
It'll
there to
be good.
support
I can
you.
promise you that. It'll be very good.
All right, I'll support you. I just will want to wait and see before I cast my vote. Deal?
Okay, I understand.
Awesome. Well, thank you. As you noticed, like we've been talking for a while, but time hasn't changed. So obviously, this was just really quick, right?
Yeah, it was just a quick video.
Uh, nice. All right, Amanda. Well, I'm gonna get back at it. I have some students, or I have a family coming to visit, so I got to mask up and wash up, and it's kind of fun. I have little hand sanitizers to give them as they arrive. So we're taking it seriously. We're making sure, but we're also making sure that we're gonna help out in any way possible. That's what we do. Deal?
That's deal. Go wash those
I
hands.
I was gonna say, you go wash your hands. Take care of yourself, okay?
Yep, you too.
All right, 2040. I'm holding you to it right now. It's on video. It's gonna get published. I can't wait.